Well, hello, my NextGen fam. Welcome to another episode of Mentor Moments with NextGen HQ. It's such a joy to have you here. So make sure to sit back, take out your notebooks, and enjoy the conversation to come. We are so excited today to have someone who you might actually already be familiar with. You've seen him pop up in our community before. You maybe even seen his spotlight in the past, but it is David from the epic company Aloa on with us today. David is one of the founding team members of the company, and it's a platform for startups to find, manage, and pay for their software development experience. David is super passionate about the software process, making it easy for entrepreneurs, but also one of my favorite parts, really calling upon empathy and the human connection that goes into any action, any activity you take when it comes to software. David, how's that intro for you?
Sounded great. I should record that myself.
Just play it before you get on the phone with anyone. Be on repeat.
I think so.
I love it. Well, we're so excited to have you here today, David, and we're going to hear a little bit more about your journey. I think you've been on a really interesting ride the past few years with your company, and I know that you also started it from a very early age. So you are exactly one of the next geners who is going to be connecting with other next geners in this. So if you're okay with that, we're just going to kind of dive right in. But first off, take you through a Next Gen HQ tradition here with some rapid fires.
Okay.
So are you ready?
Yeah.
Amazing. What is one book that you'd recommend to others?
Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely.
I love it. You knew that one right off the top of your head.
My favorite book.
Oh, amazing.
My Bible.
Okay, I love it. What is one mindfulness practice that you have?
Meditation.
Ooh. Yeah. Do you do like long sessions?
So I do transcendental meditation, which is like a different form, but it's 20 minutes twice a day.
Wow. That's amazing. We should all be able to make more time like that for ourselves. What is your spirit animal?
Ooh, a panda.
Oh, I love that. And your Sunday morning nirvana?
Go for a run.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. You definitely take the cake for doing the fastest rapid fire questions we've ever had. I applaud you for that.
Here for the try to be all rapid for you.
I love it. Amazing. So now that we know you a little bit better, a little bit more on the personal side, we're going to dive in with some of these deeper questions to hear more about the story and the journey that you've been on. Cool. So starting from the very beginning of Aloa and everything that you've been working on, how exactly were you struck with the idea to bring this to life? And what were some of those early days like, especially because you were still in school, you're also trying to build a business. I'm sure you're probably trying to build relationships with other people. What was that early process like for you?
Yeah, so it really started off just kind of being a group of friends, just messing around, having fun, building out tech, just hanging out. So there's a group of 5 of us, and the order kind of, the team slowly trickled in. So I was the last of the 5 to join the team. And essentially, as we were just kind of like building out apps, doing just student consulting stuff ourselves, we were looking to expand our team, and started to look about, hiring someone to come on board, and looking at US developers and student developers and overseas. And US developers were a little too expensive. Student developers didn't always have the same time commitment, just because you're, of course, students. And we started looking overseas, and there's great talent out there, but everything we heard of was avoid, outsourcing is a horror story, don't do it. And to us, we kind of, scratched our head at that. Well, why do we live in a digital world, yet we haven't figured out how to predictably and consistently work with great talent overseas? So, we were in college, we had plenty of time on our hands. So we said, all right, let's research this, and let's try to figure it out, really come from a pain point perspective rather than just, provide a solution.
I love that. Actually, I took a class when I was in school at Brown University, and my entrepreneurship professor teaches what he calls a top-down approach. Is it top-down or is it a bottom-up approach? Now I'm confused, but it was either one of those. But essentially, it's not creating this fantastic idea and then searching for the problem that it would solve. It's really starting with just getting to know other people and talking to them and finding what the problems are from there, and then creating a solution directly to that you have found.
Yeah,
so I think it's
exactly.
really smart that you went that process.
Yeah, and I think that's just a really nice organic way to go about it. And while we were going through it, we were facing so many pain points ourselves, and it kind of just, struck us there. Well, what if you aren't technical? What if you don't actually know what you're doing? How in the world are you supposed to actually be navigating the space? And so our high level mission is, we believe in a world where anyone can innovate freely. And at that point, we were like, okay, well, software is a huge barrier to innovation. If you have some awesome ideas and you can't figure out how to successfully develop it, that's an issue. So the world could be a pretty cool place if everyone could innovate freely.
Absolutely. But bringing that a little bit more to your story as well, I'd love to ask you, how do you approach every day, every experience with this innovate freely mindset? Because I feel like one of the traps that entrepreneurs face is getting so deep into the day-to-day and the route structures and operations they have to follow, that innovation can in some ways for many founders fall off to the wayside because
Mhm.
they're burdened with so much else. So
For sure.
how have you encouraged yourself? How would you encourage others to do that?
Yeah, so we've put in a few different kind of like policies and things that we do internally, just to really keep us focused. So the big thing is, staying core and staying true to our mission and what we're doing, and not letting the headaches, pain points, whatever it be, the day to day of being an entrepreneur kind of get in the way of what we're really looking to do. So one thing we do at the start of each month is we call it an open compass, where basically each of us will kind of come to the table, and just kind of be very open, say what's on our mind, what's bothering us, what's causing us to lose sleep at night, so we can kind of just discuss it as a team and figure out what's going on. And then after that, we then kind of just outline, again, what is our mission, what are we doing, why are we doing it, just to really reorient ourselves. So having kind of those constant reminders is good, just to really put us back to why we're doing what we're doing. um, and something else we do is on our sales meetings, we not only focus on, of course, sales wins, but we have innovation wins too. So we put just as much weight in our innovation wins as we do in our sales wins. um, and then we also have a third category, which is intangible wins. So that's like wins that coming from a client. So for example, if I have a client who's doing something and I refer them to someone else, and that ends up helping the client in some way, that would be like an intangible win, an innovation win, because we're still furthering kind of the mission. So I think it's just all about celebrating the wins and just kind of reorienting yourself as to why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you lose sight of that, then it can be pretty tough to reel it back in.
And creating that environment where your team members, whether that is your fellow founders or other employees that you've hired on, they also feel that they have that reorientation too. They
Mhm.
always feel part of something larger than just the day to day.
For sure.
I love that. Speaking on one thing that you hit on at the end there, kind of these intangible wins, which I love. I love that you guys do more than just sales wins. I think that's so clever. It seems like at your company, client relationships and putting clients first and the interactions that you have with them is incredibly important.
For
Where do
sure.
you think that concept kind of came to light for you, and knowing that that is one of the most important things maybe you could do for the company as a whole is create that direct focus?
Yeah. So when it comes to software, it's such a complicated space that it's really tough to have transparency, and especially in a lot of the ways that it's done today is with outsourcing itself. Um, it doesn't necessarily ensure that the client understands what's going on, and that brings about a lot of anxiety. As a client, you're spending a lot of money, you're trying to build something that you love, and when you're giving up that control to someone else to build, and you're not able to see that transparency in how it's going, um, it's not only not fun, but it just makes the relationship difficult, because it also then hinders the ability to have better collaboration and things like that. And so again, going back to our mission, with our mission being for anyone to innovate freely, you shouldn't have to be, a technical individual to be able to have a successful software relationship. And all of that really stems from the client. It's really making sure that you understand the client, who they are, what they're doing, and how we can really adapt our processes and our kind of structure and framework to the needs of the client. That way they have a full understanding of what's going on. It really kind of touches on the last point you mentioned when you gave me that beautiful introduction of empathy and building kind of humanity into the relationship. There's such a lack of transparency that anyone can really be pinned up against the wall and be forced to conform to whatever technical, environments that a firm or whatever puts you through. But in order to have a really strong relationship and to really have a successful relationship, it's important to act with empathy and understand that, okay, well, if someone doesn't understand what's going on, that's not only going to harm, your relationship with them, but it's also going to harm our ability to really be a good development partner, because we won't get to know them as much and won't have as good of collaboration and things like that.
Absolutely. I think it's just, it even goes back to how you came up with this concept in the first place. You saw that there was a problem and then you created a solution for that. And in seeing the problem, that was speaking to others who were experiencing similar issues. That was really getting to know who your clients were going to be on a very deep level. And I feel like you have taken that from the very start of your story and encouraged your whole team to make sure that that continues to be kind of one of the founding marks of Aloa and everything that you're doing there.
Definitely. Yeah. That's the goal.
So for other individuals in our community who might be working on a much more technically based software or program or company, whatever that might be, who maybe haven't really thought about the side of the conversation about thinking, who is my client? How do I approach them? What would you encourage as a first step to even just trying to think about how this could impact their business?
Start like, as in what can like a company do who's just like a client relationship company?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. So I mean, the very first thing is just really, again, leading with empathy, putting yourself in their shoes, thinking through, okay, well, if I were in this person's shoes and I was going to be engaging in some relationship, how would I want to feel? What would I want to do? And it's about being preventative, not reactive, and about, being accountable, taking ownership of what is your responsibility, being very clear of expectations as to what is the client's responsibility, because every client does have responsibility in each relationship, and you just have to communicate that with them. So it's just really trying to not put profits as your true north. Money is great, but having money as your only, goal and incentive really only will help you achieve short-term gratification and doesn't really help for that long-term scalability, and really building kind of a brand that people love.
I love that. That goes back to one of our older mentors who maybe you have even seen in the community before, Rich Keller. He always says one of his biggest quotes, engage first, sell second.
Mm-hmm.
That money should always be lesser to that first part, engaging your clients, engaging community members, whoever kind of that end goal is, but that should
Yeah.
always be kind of the number one focus rather than the profits. Profits will come if you build those kinds of deeper relationships that will carry through them.
Yeah. And I think also just be genuine. People can read you. Like, they can tell if you're, if you don't have the right reasons. And if you're starting a company, you should be doing what you love, falling in love with the problem, and really being motivated by what can bring you to that next level. So any failure or anything like that isn't a failure. It's just an opportunity of how to be better, how to grow, how to learn. But being genuine with someone, people really appreciate that. People, can see that you're genuine if you're really having fun and you care about what you're doing. People like working with people who care about it.
Oh, I love that. Also, you just said something so valuable there that I want to pull this out. Fall in love with the problem. I think so many entrepreneurs fall in love with the solutions, with the companies that they create, but it starts way before that. It starts with falling in love with the problem that you hope to solve.
100%. And I would love to take credit for that, but I actually heard that from Uri Levine, who's the founder of Waze. So
Oh, yeah.
if Uri, if you do listen to this, I'm giving you a shout out here. But it's a beautiful saying, fall in love with the problem, not the solution. If you're obsessed with the problem, then it's kind of the whole Thomas Edison thing, you find 10,000 ways that don't work. Awesome. You're 10,000 steps closer to finding your solution.
You know what? You were the one who told me that, so I'll just give you the credit on the down low, and we thank whoever else inspired you to say that in this moment.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Amazing. David, we've spent around 15, 20 minutes or so of your time so far. So I do want to go ahead and make sure that we're wrapping this up on the best note.
Sure.
So we ask a question of all of our mentors. We have gotten every single mentor has said a different answer to this. So I'm excited to hear what yours is. But to go ahead and end this, we'd love to know, what is your hope for the next generation of entrepreneurs and of leaders that you're speaking to right now?
Ooh, what is my hope? Wow. That's a
Good
tough question.
question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I guess staying true with Aloa's mission, and what I'm spending so much of my day doing anyway is, I guess my hope would be that, future entrepreneurs don't have to face barriers when they want to innovate. So whether that be, you know, barriers of technology, socioeconomic barriers, demographic barriers, whatever it be, the hope would be that, any entrepreneur who wants to do something cool has the means possible to innovate.
So stay true to your mission, to your vision, innovate freely, and be a part of building a better future for us all. I think
Got
you
it.
couldn't have answered that question in a better manner than that.
I appreciate that.
Amazing. Well, David, thank you so much for coming on to Mentor Moments with Next Gen HQ today. We so appreciated your time.
You got it.
Next
Happy to
Geners.
be here and appreciate it as well.
Next Geners, go check out what David is up to. We have him on so many different platforms at the moment. David, if someone was looking to connect with you more directly, LinkedIn, socials, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah. So if you want to just chat with me personally, more than welcome to hit me up on LinkedIn, and just shoot me a note, shoot me a request or whatever it be. You can also email me, david@aloa.co, ALOA.co. And if you're interested in Aloa itself, you can reach out to us on our website.
Amazing. Everyone, go run, go hit up David, go find out more about Aloa. We're so excited to have them in the community. And David, we're going to let you go. Enjoy festive season. And I hope that we're doing another one of these in the coming months.
Sounds great. Really appreciate it, Rachel.
Amazing. Bye, everybody.